8 things destroying your silver right now, and you put them there. Right now, inside your storage setup, something is working against you. Not a thief, not a flood, not anything dramatic or visible. Surprised, something quiet, something chemical, something you probably placed there yourself because it looked fine, felt safe, and nobody ever warned you it was a problem. And the damage it is causing will not announce itself. It will not show up tomorrow morning with a visible warning. It will build silently, invisibly, over weeks and months, until the day you decide to sell and a dealer looks at your silver and gives you a number that does not match what you paid. Size. That is the moment you discover what improper storage actually costs. Today we are going through 8 materials, 8 suspects that are found in silver storage setups all across the country right now. Each one looks completely reasonable. Each one seems harmless. And each one is capable of permanently reducing the value of the metal it is touching. I'm going to walk you through exactly why each material looks innocent, what it is actually doing to your silver, what the damage looks like when you finally find it, and what you need to replace it with today. And while you watch, I need you to do something important. Mentally walk through your own storage setup. Picture exactly what is touching your silver right now, because there is a very real chance that at least one of these 8 suspects is already in contact with your metal at this very moment. Quick disclaimer before we begin. This is educational content about storage materials and their chemical interaction with silver. It is not investment advice. Material properties vary by manufacturer, formulation, and environmental conditions. When in doubt, test independently or replace the material entirely. Before we get to the suspects, you need the framework, because these 8 materials look completely different from each other. Plastic, rubber, foam, cardboard, paper, fabric, wood, metal. They seem unrelated, but every single one of them attacks silver through one of 3 methods. Method 1 is chemical attack. The material releases compounds that react directly with the silver surface. The result is tarnish, film, discoloration, or permanent surface degradation that cannot be undone without physically removing silver itself. Method 2 is environmental damage. The material creates a poor microclimate around the silver. It traps moisture, introduces instability, or allows atmospheric contaminants to concentrate against the metal surface. The result is uneven tarnish, spotting or haze that develops slowly and unpredictably. Method 3 is physical damage. The material allows friction, pressure, or abrasion against the silver. The result is hairlines, contact marks, edge damage, or loss of original mint surface that reduces grade and premium permanently. Every suspect today commits at least one of these 3 offenses. Several commit all 3, and none of them deserve to be anywhere near your silver. Suspect number 1. Soft plastic and PVC. Here is why it looks completely innocent. It is clear. You can see your silver through it. It is flexible and inexpensive. It comes in bags, sleeves, flips, and pouches that look like they were designed specifically for coin storage, and in many cases, your silver actually arrived packaged inside some version of soft plastic. So the instinct says if the mint or the dealer shipped it in this material, storing it in this material must be perfectly safe. That instinct is wrong, and it is one of the most expensive assumptions in silver storage. PVC, polyvinyl chloride, contains plasticizers. These are the chemical additives that give the plastic its softness and flexibility. Over time, these plasticizers migrate out of the plastic and make direct contact with whatever is touching the surface. When that surface is silver, the result is a sticky, greenish, or milky film that bonds to the metal at a molecular level. It does not wipe away. It does not rinse off. Standard cleaning methods cannot remove it. By the time it is visible to the naked eye, the surface of the silver has already been permanently altered. The financial damage is real and it is documented. A collector once reached out to describe a simple situation. He had kept a small group of silver coins inside a soft plastic bag stored in a drawer for approximately 2 years. When he brought them out to sell, several had a cloudy residue on the side that had been in contact with the bag. The dealer identified it immediately as PVC damage and reduced the offer significantly, not because the silver was gone, because the surface was compromised and the premium was destroyed. The verdict is guilty of chemical contamination. This is the single most common storage crime committed by silver owners. Replace soft plastic with hard capsules made from inert acrylic or polystyrene. Replace any sleeves or flips with products that are explicitly labeled PVC-free, mylar, or polypropylene. If the packaging does not state the material composition, it does not earn the right to touch your metal. Suspect number 2, rubber and rubber bands. Here is why it looks completely innocent. Rubber bands are used for everything. They organize, they bundle, they hold tubes together. They seem like the most practical and harmless storage tool in existence. And rubber shelf liners, gaskets, and storage mats seem equally safe. Soft, flexible, inexpensive, and protective. But rubber is silver's chemical enemy in disguise. Natural rubber and many synthetic rubber compounds contain sulfur, and sulfur does not need to be dissolved in water or applied as a liquid to damage silver. It off-gasses. It releases sulfur compounds directly into the air inside whatever space the rubber occupies, which means a rubber band sitting 3 inches away from your silver, never making physical contact, can still create tarnish on the metal surface simply by sharing the same enclosed atmosphere. The tarnish profile from rubber exposure is distinctive and progressive. It begins as a warm golden tone that most owners initially mistake for natural toning. It progresses through orange, purple, and blue before reaching the heavy, dark blackening that most people associate with severely neglected silver. Light tarnish can sometimes be carefully addressed with proper methods. Heavy tarnish requires intervention that carries its own risks, and a coin that shows evidence of cleaning sells at a larger discount than one that is simply tarnished because cleaning marks are permanent. The verdict is guilty of chemical contamination through sulfur off-gassing. Remove every rubber band, every rubber liner, and every rubber component from any container that holds silver. If you need to group tubes or organize sections, use cotton twill tape or let the container's own internal structure handle the organization. Also check the gaskets on any sealed containers. Modern quality containers use silicone gaskets which are inert. Older containers or improvised solutions may use rubber-based gaskets that are releasing sulfur into the very environment you sealed to protect your metal. Suspect number 3. Common foam. Here is why it looks completely innocent. Foam is what professionals use. You see it in premium display cases, in jewelry packaging, in purpose-built storage inserts. It cushions, it organizes, and it looks like a serious solution. And the logic seems sound. If it is soft enough not to scratch the surface, it must be safe for long-term contact. That logic has destroyed a lot of silver. The word foam covers a wide range of chemical formulations. Some specialized foams are archival safe and inert. Most of the foam found in common household and general retail applications is not. Standard polyurethane foam degrades over time and releases volatile organic compounds as it breaks down. It also traps moisture directly against whatever surface it is touching, creating a localized humid environment at the exact point of contact between the foam and the metal. Some foam formulations additionally contain sulfur-based compounds or chemical fire retardants that off-gas into the enclosed storage atmosphere and accelerate tarnish. The damage pattern from foam contact is one of the most confusing things a silver owner can encounter. You see discoloration that exactly mirrors the shape of the foam contact point, a circle of tarnish where a coin rested in a foam insert, a line of haze where the edge pressed against a foam divider, a patchy discoloration pattern that follows no logical path until you realize it is a perfect map of every point where foam touched metal. Most owners do not make that connection immediately. They blame the mint. They blame humidity. They blame shipping. They look everywhere except at the insert that was pressing against their silver every hour of every day for the past year. The verdict is guilty of chemical contamination and environmental degradation. Replace common foam with materials specifically designated as archival safe. Use inert alternatives or purpose-built numismatic inserts that clearly state their material composition. The general rule is simple. If the foam cannot tell you what it is made of and confirm it is safe for long-term metal contact, it does not belong near your silver. Suspect number 4. Cardboard. Here is why it looks completely innocent. Cardboard is dry, it is rigid, it is everywhere. A small cardboard box seems like a perfectly reasonable short-term container for a few coins. Reusing a quality shipping box for storage seems like practical and sensible recycling. But cardboard is not dry in the way that matters for silver storage. Cardboard is manufactured from wood pulp. Wood pulp contains lignin, an organic compound that breaks down over time and releases acidic byproducts into the surrounding environment. Standard cardboard also absorbs moisture from the air and holds it against any surface in contact with it. And the adhesives, coatings, and inks used in commercial cardboard production add additional unpredictable chemical variables to every piece of the material. The damage from cardboard exposure is often described by dealers as acidic contact toning. It is not the natural toning that sometimes develops character on older coins. It is blotchy, uneven discoloration that signals environmental damage from improper storage. And environmental damage is a permanent notation in any serious assessment of a coin's condition. It follows the piece through every future transaction and reduces its value at every point of sale. The verdict is guilty of environmental degradation and chemical contamination. Cardboard has no legitimate role in direct contact with silver in any long-term storage scenario. Replace it with sealed containers made from inert materials. If you need a box structure for organization, ensure the silver itself is inside capsules or tubes that prevent any direct contact with the cardboard interior. Suspect number 5. Regular paper, receipts, and common envelopes. Here is why it looks completely innocent. Paper is thin, paper is dry. Keeping a receipt with the coins it documents seems organized and responsible. Wrapping a single coin in a piece of paper seems like gentle and harmless protection. Paper commits the same underlying crime as cardboard, but more quietly. Regular paper contains the same acidic compounds derived from wood pulp processing. Thermal receipt paper, the kind produced by most point-of-sale systems, contains additional chemical coatings that can transfer directly to any surface in prolonged contact. Common envelope adhesives add yet another unpredictable chemical variable. The visible damage from paper is subtle and slow, which makes it more dangerous than the obvious crimes committed by PVC. Paper does not leave a dramatic greenish film. Instead, it creates a poor microenvironment. It holds moisture against the coin surface. It concentrates atmospheric sulfur at the metal interface. Over months, it produces uneven spotting, light haze, or irregular toning that the owner attributes to age, to shipping, to anything other than the paper that has been sitting against the silver since the day it went into storage. The verdict is guilty of environmental degradation. Keep all receipts, documentation, and paper records physically separated from the metal itself. A separate compartment, a separate container, a digital copy backed up elsewhere. Your documentation is valuable. It is simply not valuable enough to be in direct contact with what it is documenting. Suspect number 6. Common fabric and decorative felt. Here is why it looks completely innocent. Felt-lined cases look premium. Fabric pouches feel elegant. Velvet display trays look exactly like something from a high-end jewelry store. And the instinct says anything that is soft enough to prevent scratching must be safe for the metal it is protecting. That instinct has damaged a lot of beautiful silver. Common felt, especially colored felt, is frequently treated with dyes, adhesives, and fire retardants during manufacturing. Many of these treatments contain sulfur-bearing compounds that off-gas over time. Even untreated wool felt contains natural sulfur from the animal fiber it is made from. And fabric of all types creates a surface that traps dust, moisture, and atmospheric contaminants directly against the silver in a way that hard containers do not. The pattern of damage from fabric and felt contact is one of the clearest and most unmistakable you will encounter once you know what to look for. The affected surfaces show darker toning exactly corresponding to the contact area. The surfaces that were exposed to air inside the case, rather than pressed against the fabric, show significantly less damage by comparison. The shape of the toning literally maps the shape of the felt contact. 6 proof coins in a beautiful display case, perfect presentation, and every one of them losing their original condition because the case displaying them was simultaneously degrading them. The verdict is guilty of chemical contamination through sulfur off-gassing. Replace common felt and fabric linings with inert materials. If you use display cases for presentation purposes, place coins in individual capsules first. The capsule becomes the coin's personal sealed environment. The felt can be as visually appealing as you want on the outside. What matters is that the metal itself is isolated from it. Suspect number 7. Raw wood and unfinished wood surfaces. Here is why it looks completely innocent. Wood is natural. Wood is traditional. Wood drawers are standard in most homes. Wooden boxes feel handcrafted and premium. The association between quality storage and beautiful wood is deeply embedded in how most people think about protecting valuable things. A hand-finished wooden box seems like exactly the kind of home silver deserves. Wood is actively hostile to silver. Different wood species release different chemical compounds as they age and breathe. Oak is particularly aggressive. Cedar, which people associate with protective properties because it repels insects, releases compounds that actively accelerate tarnish on silver. The finishes applied to wood, including varnishes, lacquers, stains, and polyurethane coatings, add their own mixture of volatile organic compounds to whatever enclosed atmosphere the wood occupies. The key distinction is this: a wooden drawer or cabinet is acceptable as the outer environment for a properly sealed container that holds your silver. The drawer is the room. The sealed container is the house. The silver lives inside the house, isolated from the room's atmosphere by the container's gasket. That arrangement is fine. What is not fine is placing bare silver directly on a wooden surface, inside an unlined wooden box. in a drawer without a sealed intermediary container, in any arrangement where the metal is sharing the same uncontrolled atmosphere as the wood. The verdict is guilty of chemical contamination through acid and volatile organic compound off-gassing. Wood never makes direct contact with silver under any circumstances. If you store sealed containers in a wooden cabinet or drawer, that is acceptable. The container provides the barrier. But the silver itself, whether it is in tubes, capsules, or bare form, never sits on wood, never sits inside an unlined wooden box, and never shares an unsealed environment with any raw or finished wood surface. Suspect number 8. Your own silver. Here is why it looks completely innocent. Because it is silver. How can silver damage silver? It is the same metal, the same element. The idea that silver can be its own enemy seems almost paradoxical, which is exactly why this is the most underestimated suspect on the entire list. Silver does not damage silver chemically. It damages silver physically through friction, pressure, and contact. A loose coin resting on top of another loose coin creates contact marks at every single touch point. A container being picked up and moved shifts the pieces against each other. A drawer sliding open sends everything inside it sliding against everything else. Every micro-collision creates a micro-scratch, and micro-scratches accumulated across months and years of repeated contact produce a visible condition downgrade that any experienced buyer will identify immediately. The damage from metal-on-metal contact does not look like tarnish, it does not look like discoloration, it looks like hairlines, bag marks, contact wear, and surface abrasion. All of them reduce a coin's grade. All of them reduce the premium a buyer is willing to pay. And all of them are completely preventable through one simple principle: nothing loose, ever. The verdict is guilty of physical damage through friction and contact abrasion. Every individual piece of silver is physically isolated from every other piece. Coins in tubes sized to the coin diameter, premium pieces in individual hard capsules, bars separated by inert dividers that prevent any contact between surfaces. If you pick up your storage container right now and shake it gently and you hear any clicking or movement, something inside is loose. And whatever is loose is being damaged at this moment, not eventually. Right now. 8 suspects, 8 convictions, 3 crimes, chemical contamination, environmental degradation, physical damage. That is the entire framework. And once you have the framework, you do not need to memorize any list. Because when you encounter any material and ask yourself whether it should be touching your silver, the answer comes from 3 questions. Does this material release any compounds that react with silver? If yes, or if you are not certain, it does not touch the metal. Does this material trap moisture, absorb humidity, or create an unstable microclimate around the silver? If yes, or if you are not certain, it does not touch the metal. Does this material allow or create friction, pressure, or abrasion against the silver surface? If yes, or if you are not certain, it does not touch the metal. 3 questions. Universal application. They work for every material you will ever encounter, whether it appeared on today's list or not. And when you are uncertain, the default answer is always no contact, because the cost of unnecessary caution is 0, and the cost of misplaced trust is permanent. So what actually earns the right to touch your silver? Hard capsules made from inert acrylic or polystyrene, PVC-free coin tubes matched to coin diameter, mylar or polypropylene sleeves and flips, acid-free tissue paper used as a barrier material, silica gel packets for moisture control placed inside the container, but not touching the metal directly, anti-tarnish strips for sulfur absorption, also placed in the container rather than against the coin surface, and a sealed container with a silicone gasket that creates the controlled microenvironment where all of these elements work together. That is the complete approved list. Everything else is a suspect until it can prove otherwise. And in silver storage, suspects do not get the benefit of the doubt. They get removed. Before you close this video, I want you to do one thing. Go to your storage right now. Open the container. Look at what is actually touching your silver. Is there a rubber band, a piece of cardboard, a receipt or document, a felt liner, a foam insert, a soft plastic bag, loose coins in direct contact with each other? Any material whose exact composition you cannot verify? If you find any of them, remove them today. Not this weekend, not when you get around to it. Today. Every hour of contact is another hour of potential damage building. And the fix for every single suspect on this list costs less than $5 and takes less than 5 minutes to implement. The math is straightforward. The cost of doing nothing is a permanent reduction in the premium your silver commands. The cost of fixing it today is almost nothing. Drop a comment below and tell me which suspect you found in your own storage. Be honest. Most of us have been guilty of at least one of these at some point. Every honest answer in the comments section is information that helps another collector check their own setup before the damage becomes visible. If this video makes you open your container today and remove something that should not be there, hit the like button. That single action might be worth more in preserved value than any other financial decision you make this week. Subscribe and hit the bell for more content on protecting and maximizing the value of your physical metal. Share this with anyone you know who stores silver at home and has never thought carefully about what is actually in contact with it. Give them this information before the evidence shows up on their metal. 8 suspects, 3 crimes, 1 rule. If you do not know exactly what it is made of, it does not touch your silver.